Not working. Hello, 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 hello. All right. This is Bottom of the Glass, so pull up a chair, grab a drink, and let's get started. So today, I'm your host, Chad Kelly. Today we're going to do a little bit of talking about just A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the first 4 episodes. Tomorrow is episode 5. It's going to be the Battle of the Seven. I've listened to the audiobook multiple times, so I kind of know what's going to happen. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to do a little bit of talking about the first 4 episodes and then maybe a couple other like random topics. Yeah. So the first 4 episodes this show. I really liked House of the Dragon. I'm really excited for season 3 and season 4. Mainly because I know what happens. So I really want to get season 2 was not nearly as good as season 1 to me, but I'm really excited for season 3 because I am excited to see some better Damon plot points that I think season 2 wasn't as good on. But A Night of the Seven Kingdoms to me so far has been the best thing in Game of Thrones since about season 6 maybe of Game of Thrones. It's been the best since then. Season 7, I had some really highs too in Game of Thrones, but season 8 was a real letdown to me. But Night of the Seven Kingdoms, so far, shorter episodes, shorter seasons, only 6 episodes, 30-minute, 6 episodes in the season, 30-minute episodes. I know what's going to happen. I've listened to the 3 novellas multiple times. I actually re-listened to like half of it this morning just to have a refresher. So as I talk about I'm only gonna talk about the first 4 episodes. No spoilers about what's coming up, but I will bring up a little bit of some stuff that is different in the books. I'm not gonna go crazy about it, but there's some little differences and things I actually kind of like that the show did. They expanded some of the characters a little bit. 'Cause the original, it's really just Duncan's perspective, a lot of inner monologue. But in the show, we get a little more of some other people. Like Lionel Baratheon comes in, and he's really talked about his joust and stuff, but he's really not in it until, which would be episode 4 of the show, until like we're getting the team for the trial of the 7. You really don't get much from him before that, with him and Duncan communicating. But in this one, they kind of show him throughout, and he really is like the star of the steals every scene he's in. He's just great. He's electric. He's funny. He's kind of got that like Tyrion Robert Baratheon combo, which is perfect for this show. So yeah, episode 1 we've talked about 4. It's a good way to introduce him. You kind of see this guy's like a simple guy, but he's you know, it kind of shows like this whole show is really in the books is about like what is a true knight. Is it really about having wealth and power and getting knighted by another knight because you know uh you're just like it's almost like you're a rich kid from your father pays for you to get all this training, and then you become a knight. But in the hedge knight, a hedge knight is not the same way. They have to like really struggle and you to be a knight, a real knight. By the motto that you see, like when you see Jamie Knight Brienne, that was like the first time we've seen that, and then we see it again in episode 4. Uh, um, you know, I charge you as a warrior to be brave. In the name of the father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the mother, and what they said in the show, which I like, is they said, "I charge you to protect the young and innocent." They really specified that, um, the young and innocent, because which is pretty crazy right now. We could probably try to knight some of the government officials right now because they're not trying to protect the young and innocent. But that's another topic for another day. Um, yeah, I really liked that whole speech in episode 4 where you see him doing the knight in, or you hear the knight in as it shows Duncan, and it's almost like that is a time where Duncan is being knighted. Uh, is because he's doing the right thing at this moment, which I really, really, really like. To me, episode 2, you get a lot of good him and Egg building building a like companionship. In the books, you get like a little more like little more stuff, but they kind of change the orders of some things in the show from when it happens in the books. But it really works for the flow of the show. Like in the books, like Egg doesn't come with him when he sees the Targaryens and all that. He talks to Baelor. You don't. Egg's still at the camp, so that's why kind of like in this one that he goes with them, but it makes sense because he's trying to help him as he walks and tries to like find somebody that knows Sir Arlen. Then after that, we get like the tug of war, which just never happened. The party never happened at Baratheon's tent, and the tug of war never happened. Those are two of the better scenes in the first few episodes. So they really help to build. All right, these guys like everyone can see something in Sir Duncan at all. In the books, you don't really get this, but in the show, it shows everyone that looks at him is like, oh, this dude's big, he's tall, but he's also there's something about him. And you get that right away in the show. You don't actually really get that in the books. You just think that people are all like looking down at well, figuratively looking down at him. Obviously, they're all looking up. In the show, it shows how these people are looking up at this guy and they're seeing something. Even if he looks like shit. He's got this shitty belt tied on him with a rope because he's too big for for Sir Arlen's belt to hold the sword. But you just like right away, you know there's something different about this guy. And obviously, we know he becomes like a great knight. And we only have 3 novellas that are written to show, but there's supposed to be way more. I don't know if we'll get them, but it would be nice if we get like a few more stories of these characters because they're just some of the better books that George R. R. Martin has written. These 3 novellas are amazing. Something about like a short little audiobook too. The audiobook is for the voice. They have the guy who plays Viserys or whatever in Game of Thrones season 1, uh, Daenerys' brother, and he's like one of the worst characters. We all hate him. But the audiobook is like the best audiobook I've ever listened to. Usually audiobooks, no matter how good it is, I get bored of it like pretty quick. They're hard to listen to. But this one, it goes really quick. And the guy does a really good job of doing different voices for different characters, and it works perfect. So you get all those scenes in season 2 we get you get to see some jousting at the end. We get to episode 3, which starts off with Egg training the horse. You see Sir Robin Harden, I think it is Hardly, and Sir Robin, and he's like that knight with the one eye. And again, a lot of these characters you barely even hear about. You maybe hear about them, but you don't really get to see any like communication before they join Sir Duncan and the Trial of Seven. A lot of these characters you hear about in the joust and stuff, but you don't really get much communication in the books. But this one, they give him and Egg a little scene, which I think was really good. And then you get like, he says, what do you say? You're the maddest knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And he says, madness is what madness bid. Uh, Again, this whole series just been dropping bars, and some of them are directly quoted from the book. Some of them are a little altered, but like this, a lot of the main quotes are from the book, and they just drop gem after gem after gem. Sorry, I had to grab a drink. Um, so after that, we get to uh we get to the big reveal at the end of episode 3. Aegon Targaryen, that's who we're talking about here. Egg. We all kind of, I mean, they didn't really try to hide it in the show, which they tried to hide it a little bit in some of the promotion, which makes no sense because it's a Google search away, first thing in the line on all the novellas. Couldn't really hide it, but there's probably some people who are just not big fans, don't pay attention, that maybe didn't know. Maybe they didn't watch Game of Thrones. I didn't know anything about Targaryens. Maybe, but even in the book, if you listen to it, you didn't hear about it. I guess you could have even been tricked a little bit because they don't give you as much of like in the show when the Targaryens are coming in, Eggs immediately wants to go back to the campsite. He's already at the campsite in the books. He wasn't there, so he wasn't involved in that. So like these obvious things, like the whole if you steal my horse, or I'm gonna chase you with dogs. You don't have dogs. That whole scene, like that line was quoted in the book. It was different. It didn't have. They was still at the site with them at the lone tree. So like little things like that, what they changed worked really well for the story. Sorry, it is Zen. It's Saturday night. I'm tired. I ate a lot of sushi too. So you get that, and then you get the at the end of the episode 3, you get Sir Duncan Tall like coming in, throwing Arian across the room, punching him a few times, throwing him in the room, kicking him as he tries to pull his dagger, and then he's about to get curb stomped like good old Edward Norton in History X, about to get curb stomped, and then Egg comes in, saves the day. Thank God for that, right? But he finds out right away. They have like almost like it's almost a um what do you call that? Like a soap opera little thing right there. Dun, the music goes dun dun dun, and he's like kind of looking around, and like they have like that soap opera music, and it works really well for the show. Um, but then we start in episode 4. So I want to talk a little bit longer about episode 4. To me, episode 4 is the best Game of Thrones show that I've watched. I don't know, since maybe like the finale of season 7 was right up there. That was just a great episode. Uh, Maybe the finale of season 6 might have been actually probably closer to the finale of season 6. Season 7 ending was great, but it was not. I don't think it was as good. It was probably the finale of season 6. Scenario with Cersei blowing up the Sept, and then Arya killing the Freys and all of that, and then finding out about Jon Snow at the end. That was probably the best episode since then. Just like I knew it was gonna happen, but just I'm a big fan of Breakspear. So when that happens, like season 4 starts out, and they have this really cool shot in the beginning of the episode where it's showing almost like it looks like it's stars, and I've seen people react to it, and they're like, "Oh, it kind of looks like stars." Oh no, it's a dungeon, and that was obviously like purposely shot that way. It's like instead, a night ago, he was looking at the stars with Egg. Now he's looking at the dungeon wall, and in his mind, probably this moment, he's like, "This kid kind of screwed me," right? Uh, which he kind of did, but at the same time, Sir Duncan Tall was doing what a knight should do, which is the whole point of the show. Is he was being honorable in a world that we know of a lot of gray characters or just straight up black bad characters. I mean that a lot of bad people and or a lot of gray people who do some good things, some bad things. There's not a lot of super honorable characters. There's Jon Snow. That's probably about it in Game of Thrones. There's other characters are really good, but they all kind of do their own thing a little bit here or there. Uh, so he's in the prison. Egg comes in, talks to Egg. He's mad at Egg in this moment, rightfully so. I mean, his life is feels like it's over right now. I mean, he just hit a prince, probably gonna get you know probably gonna die. Maybe get his hand cut off, foot cut off. Uh, yeah. So then he goes and he talks to Breakspear. Um, let me just pull this up. Yeah, so he talks to Baelor, who's the hand of the king, also the heir to the Iron Throne, Egg's uncle. And he talks to Baelor, and Baelor is explaining to him the situation. And right away, they have this little kind of spat with Egg, kind of seeing where Egg is feeling. He doesn't like his brother Arion at all. Uh, and we find out that his brother Daron, who was the drunk in the first episode, with the dreams, the dragon dreamer, and we find out that he's made up this lie that Sir Duncan is a robber and a big robber knight, took Egg. None of it matches up timeline wise. We kind of all get that. Baylor gets that, but it doesn't really matter. This is going to affect the regular trial. There's just no way Sir Duncan is going to win a trial. So he does this little thing at the beginning of his talk with him when Egg leaves, where he says, "How good of a knight are you?" And Sir Duncan's like, "You taught me, Sir Arlen taught me how to use sword and shield and how to tilt that rings." But when he says it, and then when he says it at the end, and he says, "So I ask you again, Sir Duncan the Tall, how good of a knight are you, truly?" This right there, it's like, man, are you ready to run through a wall right now? I'm ready to like fight. I don't even know how to fight with a sword, but I want to try to fight with a sword just because of this scene right here. We also get the good moment too, which is kind of a callback later on at the end of the finale of the episode, where where he says, "Wouldn't you do the same?" He broke his girl's finger. "Wouldn't you do the same?" And he says, "I might, but I'm a prince of the realm, not a hedge knight." And then Sir Duncan's like, "Don't all knights make the same oath?" And you could see, kind of see in the actor who's playing Baylor that he's like, look, he kind of like skips right over that, but he hears it, which I really like. I really like that actor. He did a really good job. He does a really good job playing Baylor. He's a little different than where I remember him in like the graphic novels and stuff looking like. He's got the dark hair like that, but this definitely looks like an older guy playing the character. Not like too old, but older. But I think it works. It gives him like a sense of like, he's got a different experience level than these others, than like Duncan and Egg and all these characters. He just from they aged up everybody in the show. I mean, so Duncan in the book is like 17. In the show, he's like 30. Egg is probably the closest. He's probably around the same age as he is in the book. He's like 8 or 9. It's like 8 or 9 in the show. So that one is pretty close. Some of the stuff with Sir Duncan is like makes more sense in the books. I haven't like talked about it a lot, but like in the books, he's a virgin. That's kind of why he's like smitten by Denzel too tall. So yeah, we get to that whole scene, and then we get to the part where Sir Duncan's saying trial by combat. Again, this shows like just does like the cold open really well. There's no music in it until the end of this episode. The Game of Thrones music, which was the perfect timing. So we get to that part. We get to the trial where Arian says trial by 7, and then the differences in the books right here is going to be a lot of Magor. Magor is like in the books he's a little more. He's not so like he's not giving Arian as much shit about first his decisions. He's in this one. He's like like Arian saying trial by 7. He's like, what the fuck is a trial by 7? And in the books, he kind of knows it all, but it works really well for the character because even in the books, like he knows his son, he knows Darren and Ariane are shitheads, and he knows that Egg is like the kind of the wild one of the bunch. So it works really well in this show. But again, he's still gonna be on his team for the trial of 7. So we find out a little later that it's gonna be Mako, Arian, Mako, Darren, who says that he's gonna fall, which he does in the books as well. Again, he made this lie, but he's still gonna fall. So technically, it's giving you an easy guy out of the trial because they could have brought in somebody really good, but because he's making the lie, he's got to be in it. So they take him out, and then we have the scene with the fossil waste, which is happens in the books. But what they do in this is they give Stefan like the greatest lines, and again, I know that he's gonna betray them, so it's just like, damn. He gives him the cool signs. I mean, he says again with that like thick like English accent or whatever. Almost sounds like he's in Peaky Blinders, and he does the all. He says, Uh, I don't know why like honorable men. Why like this fat. What does he say exactly? It's like he's like, I don't know why the troubles always follow honorable men, but when I don't know what, I want to quote the right things. I don't want to mess this up. He just like the one he says like, I always say more glory. That whole line is just dope. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Yeah, so in the books, he says, "I am the seventh," said Sir Stephen, smiling. "This isn't a betrayal. But for the other side, I fight with Prince Arian and the accusers." He does that in the show pretty much the same way. But, you know, in the show, he has that really cool quote, um, where he's like saying, Whenever I don't have the answers, I say more glory," which is it makes you want to run through a wall. You're like, "Fuck yeah, Sir Stefan." But this guy's a bitch and he's gonna betray him. So we get to that. We meet Darren. Doug almost commits another crime. I mean, they probably could just kill him at this point if Sir Darren told on him, but he doesn't do anything. He lets him go. Find out that it's gonna be Darren, Arion, Makor, and the three King's guards that are there, which is like is bad news. Bad news. It's the three Kingsguard, like the Kingsguard are the best fighters in the kingdom in Westeros pretty much. So he's got a tough challenge. They don't say the seventh person. Find out it's gonna be Stefan. And that whole scene where you're seeing Sir Duncan's team, you get like the really cool thing where Sir Humphrey, so you have two Humphreys on this team. You have Humphrey Harden, or let me just pull these guys up so I can say it. Yeah. So you have his team is Lionel Baratheon, Robin Rislin, who's the one-eyed guy. You got Humphrey Beesbury. He's the guy with the little mustache. And you don't really see him saying anything, but he's a Beesbury. If you watch House of the Dragon, you remember Beesbury is the guy who uh was on Rhaenyra's side, got his head slammed into the thing and killed by Kristen Cole. And then you got Humphrey Harden. He's the guy who's jousting Arion, gets his horse stab, falls, and breaks his legs. Now he's fighting with one leg on the horse the whole time. And then they do the knighting of Raymond Fossaway because Stefan is out. And this kind of whole starts up the whole Fossaway tree. Raymond eventually, this is a spoiler, but it doesn't really matter. Raymond's gonna be the green apples eventually, right? He always said, "Yeah, you're not quite," because Stefan always says, "You're not quite ripe." They just the Fossaways love a apple pun. I mean, just throughout the show, they just love an apple pun, and they love their apple cider. So we get eventually he's gonna become the green apple. They're gonna he changes the logo and be the green apples. But so you get yeah, that's your team, and then again I told you who they're fighting. So oh yeah, well obviously then they get Baelor Targaryen. This is the whole moment where you have the really really good Sir Duncan and Tall speech, and he's like doing that whole speech. It's amazing. I love it. And then you get the Brood Bracken stands up when he's like, he's like, "Who will stand and fight with me?" And the Brood Bracken stands up, and in the books, he stands up and he just says, I don't know you, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna fight on your side. In the show, he farts. Honestly, favorite episode of TV for a while. Didn't like that part at all when it happened. I was like, ugh, why? Such a cool speech. But luckily, after this part, he has another couple good lines. He does the whole, um, he does the other. He says, he's like, what happened to pretty much like the is there no, and he says he has just like really really cool lines after. If Yeah. So Duncan has this whole section right here where he does his little speech that happens, and then he says, "Is there no true knights among you?" And the way the actor does it is perfect. Has really good emotion right here. And when he yells this, then you get the sound that a knight starts running out of the gate. It's right away I know it's Baelor. In the books, they talk a little bit more about how he's not wearing his armor, which you don't really notice in the show because you don't really know. Who knows? Could have the same armor as his son. That's the armor he's wearing, but you probably don't really know this, but in the book, it's a little different. You're like, "Oh, is that Valar?" And then he comes out and he pulls his helmet off, and it's Baelor, and it's the best moment in the show since I can remember. Just like Baelor Targaryen, then the Game of Thrones song music comes on in the background, and it's perfect. It's orgasmic. You're like, yes, it's Baelor Targaryen, and then he does the he brings back the whole part where he says, "He defended the innocent as any true knight must," which is kind of like a callback to Sir Duncan and Tall in their previous conversation. And then now we're all pumped for tomorrow night to watch the new episode 5, which is going to have some crazy, crazy fighting, some emotion. Some characters are going to die. It's not a spoiler. It just is what it is. Yeah, so that is the first 4 episodes of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which to me has been great. It's been great so far. Um, yeah, I'm really excited about that. So, I'm probably gonna do the next episode. I'll probably release that next week. I'm also gonna do another episode this week. I'm gonna do top 5 villains, or it's really just gonna be like the top 5 favorite villains. Me and my buddy Miles, we're gonna do that. We have so many favorite villains, so it's not gonna be an exact top 5. We're just gonna do the top 5 that we wanna do at the moment because I could probably do 20. But we're gonna do like top 5 movie villains. We're gonna do some different ones that people might not think about. And yeah, so that's gonna be tomorrow's episode. All right. So that was today's episode about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, episode 1 through 4. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Cheers. Peace out.